Well, alright everybody, so we are back with another episode of TEW9, the War of Immortals saves. We are here with our next episode of WWFC Superstars. So, we'll take a quick look here at the rundown of last week's card there. Our pre-show was the Twin Towers taking on the Bushwhackers. We had Vince and Jesse running down the card. We had the Honky Tonk Man defeat Stevie Richards to retain the World Television Championship. We had Ted DiBiase say, hey, you know what? I had a pretty good run being the tag team champion for a couple of months there, but maybe it's time I kind of focus on myself. Then we had the Road Warriors defeat the Fabulous Rougeaus. We had Mr. Perfect tell everybody, hey, I was right. I won at WrestleMania. Then we had Lex and the Ultimate Warrior beat Mr. Perfect at King Kong Bundy. Savage talks about his win at WrestleMania, but then is interrupted by Jake, who wants a rematch with him. Ted DiBiase defeated Barry Horowitz. The Rougeaus talk about being the tag team champions. The Natural Disasters defeat the Powers of Pain. Duggan wants the TV championship. Rick Rude beat Jimmy Snuka. Rude then calls out the Ultimate Warrior. And then the Macho King defeated Sergeant Slaughter. So, we are going to head into the next episode here. I'm going to book the card, and I will be right back. Well, all right, everybody. So we are back. The card is booked. Let's head right into everything with our first pre-show match. In a decent pre-show match, the Road Warriors defeated Power and Glory in 10 minutes and 6 seconds when Road Warrior Hawk pinned Paul Roma with the Doomsday device. The crowd is expectant and simmering. The wrestling rating was a 70. The crowd rating was a 48, and the segment got a 79. Hercules had a 50. Paul Roma had a 54. Hawk had a 86, and Animal had an 89. Paul Roma and Hercules got a tag team specialist bonus. Hawk and Animal showed excellent chemistry, and they got a tag team bonus. The commentary quality lifted the match, and Animal and Paul Ellering have great chemistry. So, let's head off into our first segment of the night. The camera cuts to the commentary table where we see Vince McMahon and Jesse Ventura hyping up tonight's card. Vince is enthusiastic as ever. Welcome everybody to another electrifying edition of WWFC Superstars. I'm Vince McMahon, alongside the one and only Jesse the Body Ventura. We have an absolutely stacked card for you tonight. That's right, McMahon. Tonight, I don't know why it says prime time. It says Superstars roster is going to shake up the very high stakes big egos and the big stars just the way I like it. Tonight, we'll kick it off. Well, that's not actually starting it. Brain and Bronze, as Money Inc., the calculating Ted DiBiase and Erwin R. Scheister take on the unpredictable duo of the Bushwhackers. Jesse, do you think Money Inc.'s strategy can handle the chaos of Luke and Butch? McMahon, let's be honest, the Bushwhackers are about as strategic as a pack of wild kangaroos. DiBiase and IRS will school those two buffoons in the art of wrestling and probably show them how to balance a checkbook while they're at it. And in our massive main event, a tag team showdown of the ages, the Macho King Randy Savage teams up with the ravishing Rick Rude to take on the unreliant duo of Jake the Snake Roberts and the Ultimate Warrior. What an explosive combination of rivalries that's sure to deliver fireworks. Oh, this one's going to be wild. McMahon, Savage, and Rude are both thinking man's wrestlers. They'll have a plan, but Jake Roberts and has that devious mind of his, and Warrior's an unpredictable lunatic, and I wouldn't want to be the referee for that one, that's for sure. We also have a hard-hitting clash as Hacksaw Jim Duggan takes on the Canadian strongman Dino Bravo. Duggan is always ready to fight, but can he handle the power of Bravo? Duggan's toughness is overrated, McMahon. Bravo is one of the strongest men in wrestling, and I expect him to squash that flag-waving goof like a bug. And in tag team action, the rough and tumble Nasty Boys facing off against the massive earth-shaking force of the natural disasters. Jesse, can the Nasty's streetwise tactics overcome the sheer size of Earthquake and Typhoon? Street smarts only get you so far when you're getting crushed by 800 pounds of humanity. The Nasty Boys better hope their insurance is paid up, because the disasters are going to leave a trail of destruction tonight. It's going to be a night to remember, folks. The stars are here, the rivalries are boiling over, and anything can happen on WWFC Superstars. So don't miss a second of this action. Stay tuned, because the body guarantees tonight will be off the charts. So the crowd is hot and rising. The segment got an 84. It advanced all our storylines. Vince improvised well. Jesse improvised well. The angle got the crowd hotter, and it got the show off to a strong start. So let's head off to our first match. In a decent match, Hacksaw Jim Duggan defeated Dino Bravo in 10 minutes and 23 seconds with the running clothesline tackle. The crowd is hot. The wrestling rating was a 61. The crowd rating was a 51. The segment rating was a 71. Hacksaw had an in-ring performance of 71. Dino Bravo had a 51. It advanced the Honky Tonk and Hacksaw storyline. The commentary quality lifted the match. The color commentary gave it a boost, and Jimmy Hart did good work at ringside. So let's head off to our next promo. Randy Savage, the Macho King, the man who thinks he sits on a throne untouchable, unbeatable, unshakable. But oh, how the mighty fall, you see, Randy. I've studied you. I've seen the desperation behind those wild eyes and the crown you cling to so tightly. I know your fear, your weaknesses, and I know exactly how to exploit them. When you and I meet again, Randy, it won't just be another match. It'll be a moment when the Macho King realizes he's just another man. A man who can bleed, who can fall, and who can lose. Because at the end of the night, when the dust settles and the serpent strikes, I plan on walking out as the new WWFC World Heavyweight Champion. Your reign is coming to an end, Savage. The crown, the title, the glory, it'll all slip through your fingers like sand. And when it does, I'll be there to pick up the pieces. Tick-tock, Randy. The end is near. So the crowd is now white hot. The segment got a 90. It advanced the Randy Savage Jake Roberts storyline, and the angle got the crowd hotter. So let's head off to our next match. In a wild brawl that had good wrestling and decent reaction from the crowd, Big Boss Man defeated Lex Luger in 11:50 by pinfall with the sidewalk slam. We also had Mr. Perfect attack Lex Luger. The crowd is very hot. The wrestling rating was a 76. The crowd rating was a 62, and the segment got a 78. Lex Luger had an in-ring performance of 82. Big Boss Man had a 70. It advanced the Perfect and Luger storyline, and the commentary quality lifted the match. So let's head off to the next segment. Hey, it got a 78. That's actually not that bad. Listen up, baby. Everybody's talking about Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Oh yeah, the big old tough guy with his 2x4 hollering, "Oh," like we're supposed to be scared. Like that's supposed to scare somebody. Well, let me tell you something, Hacksaw. You ain't scaring nobody. Least of all my man, the Honky Tonk Man. That's right, Jimmy. Hacksaw, you think you can just wave that piece of wood around and waltz your way into a title match with the greatest WWFC World Television Champion of all time? Baby. Not a chance. You gotta earn it, Duggan. You hear me? Earn it. My Honky Tonk Man doesn't just hand out title matches like they're candy on Halloween. You want a shot at the gold, you better step up and prove you belong in the same ring as this man right here. Yeah, Hacksaw, you got a lot of bark, but I don't see much bite. The Honky Tonk Man is about class, style, and talent, baby. I don't fight chumps who think they yell louder, they're tougher. You want a title match? Prove it. Beat somebody worth a dang. Until then, you sit back, grab a little flag, and watch the Honky Tonk Man keep making history. Haha, that's right, baby. The Honky Tonk Man is too hot to handle, too cold to hold. So, Hacksaw, if you think you're going to get a free ride to the top, you better think again, Daddy. Hacksaw, take a good look at this title because it's as close as you're ever going to get. And remember, nobody beats the Honky Tonk Man. So the crowd is very hot at the end. The segment got a 78. It advanced the Honky Tonk Man and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Jimmy Hart clearly enjoyed having the freedom to go off script. Gene Okerlund improvised well. The angle idea I did was a success, and the commentary lifted it. So let's head off to the next match. Well, not too bad. In a decent match, Money Inc. defeated the Bushwhackers in 12:40 when Ted DiBiase pinned Bushwhacker Luke. Ted DiBiase carried the match in terms of in-ring performance. The crowd is very hot. The wrestling rating was a 60. The crowd rating was a 51. And the segment got a 73. Bushwhacker Luke had a 55. Butch had a 56. IRS had a 58. And Ted DiBiase had a 72. It advanced the Road Warriors Money Inc. storyline. Bushwhacker Luke and Butch had excellent chemistry when teaming together. IRS and Ted DiBiase showed excellent chemistry. The commentary quality lifted the match. The color commentary gave it a boost, and Ted DiBiase benefited from having a hot new move. So let's head off to the next segment. Lex Luger, you just don't know when to quit, do you? First, you step into my ring at WrestleMania thinking you could take the title off my shoulder, and what happened? I proved once again that I am the absolute pinnacle of perfection in the WWFC. But apparently you didn't get the memo, Luger. You're out here sticking your nose into my business, interrupting my time, and trying to weasel your way into another shot at greatness. Well, let me make one thing crystal clear. You don't belong on my level. But you want another match? You want another chance to step into the ring with Mr. Perfect? Fine. I'll give it to you, not because you deserve it, but because I enjoy showing the world why no one can touch me. And when I beat you again, Luger, there will be no excuses, no doubts, and no more of your smug face trying to take what's mine. This title stays where it belongs, with perfection, so get ready, Lex, because you're about to get exactly what you asked for, and trust me, you're gonna regret it. So the crowd is very hot. The segment got an 85. It advanced the Mr. Perfect Lex Luger storyline. Mr. Perfect came across well. He enjoyed having the freedom to go off script. Gene Okerlund improvised well throughout the segment, and Mr. Perfect benefited from having a hot catchphrase. So let's head into our next match. Oh, man, that is so fantastic. In a bout that had great wrestling and good heat, Mr. Perfect defeated the debuting Nick Bockwinkel in 1504 by pinfall with the Perfect Plex. The match was designed so that they could go all out and steal the show. Mr. Perfect makes defense number 5 of the WWFC Intercontinental title. The crowd heat at the end is very hot. The wrestling rating was an 80. The crowd rating was a 76. And the segment got a 98. Mr. Perfect had an in-ring performance of 90. Nick Bockwinkel had a 75. Man. Nick Bockwinkel debuted his throwback gimmick and then got an initial rating of poor. It advanced the Mr. Perfect Lex Luger storyline. Jesse and Vince have pretty good chemistry when calling matches together, and this match got the crowd buzzing. So let's head off to the next segment. Sergeant Slaughter, you and I need to have a little chat right now. Last week, you strutted into the ring against the WWFC World Heavyweight Champion Randy Savage and tried to make it all about you. You came out here waving your flag, barking orders, and soaking up the spotlight like you were the second coming of some kind of hero. Let me make something perfectly clear. That should have been my moment. I am Mr. Wonderful. I am the star of this show. I don't care if you were in there with Savage the Ultimate Warrior or anyone else. When Paul Orndorff is in this building, all eyes belong on me. But no, Slaughter, you couldn't just stay in your lane, could you? You had to go out there and act like you're the savior of the WWFC. Newsflash, pal, you're not. And I won't stand for you stealing my spotlight, stealing my thunder, and trying to take what's mine. So, Slaughter, I'm calling you out right here, right now. Why don't you march your big bad self down to this ring and face me like a man? Let's see if that tough guy act of yours holds up when you're standing toe to toe with Mr. Wonderful. I'll be waiting, Slaughter, but don't take too long. I wouldn't want to waste my time on someone who can't back up their big mouth. So the crowd is very hot at the end, and the segment got an 85, which is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It advanced our Sergeant Slaughter, Mr. Wonderful storyline there. So let's head off to our next match. In a decent match, the Nashville Disasters defeated the Nasty Boys in 14-19 when Earthquake pinned Brian Knobbs with the Earthquake Splash. The crowd heat is very hot. The wrestling rating was a 65. The crowd rating was a 56. The segment got a 73. Jerry Saggs and Brian Knobbs both have a 66. Typhoon had a 65. Earthquake had a 62. It advanced the Rougeaus versus the Natural Disasters storyline. Brian Knobbs and Jerry Saggs showed excellent chemistry when teaming together. They got a tag team bonus. Earthquake and Typhoon showed excellent chemistry. The commentary quality lifted the match, and Jimmy Hart did some good work at ringside. So let's head off to our next segment. I got a 65. That's not too bad, I guess. Jimmy Hart, we've had enough of your garbage, baby. Week after week, we've been busting our butts in the ring, smashing guys left and right. And what do we get? Nothing. No title matches, no big time spotlight, just excuses. Yeah, Jimmy, you've been so busy kissing up to the honky tonk man and strumming your little guitar, you forgot about the nastiest team in the WWFC. We were supposed to be your top dogs, your meal ticket, but instead you're sitting in the back watching you play favorites. We ain't taking it anymore, Hart. You want to waste your time on the honky tonk man? Fine. Good luck, because we're done with you. The Nasty Boys are hitting the road without your skinny little hide dragging us down. And let's get one thing straight, Jimmy. We don't need you, and we don't need your squeaky megaphone. We're the Nasty Boys, and we're going to do what we do best: brawl, smash, and fight our way to the top. And any team that gets in our way, we're taking them out. So listen up, WWFC. The Nasty Boys are done playing second fiddle. We're coming for those tag titles, and we're doing it the nasty way. You better believe it. Well, we're going to turn the Nasty Boys face now. And the turn was a complete success for both of them, so now they are faces. So let's see how this run treats them. I also have to take Jimmy Hart off of them after this, too, as well. So let's head to the next match. Ooh, it got a 76. In a bout that had fantastic heat and great wrestling, the Ultimate Warrior and Jake the Snake defeated the Macho King and Rick Rude in 24-38. When the Ultimate Warrior pinned Rick Rude with a Gorilla Press Slam, Jake was the weak link because of his injury, so hopefully we have 2 more weeks, and then Jake's injury is done. The crowd heat is very hot. The wrestling rating was an 80. The crowd rating was an 85, and the segment got a 76. Rick Rude had an 80. Macho King Randy Savage had an 87. Jake had a 69, and the Ultimate Warrior had an 85. It advanced, but we lost heat on the Randy Savage Jake Roberts storyline, and Rick Rude versus the Ultimate Warrior storyline gained heat. The injury that Jake worked through took a big toll. The Ultimate Warrior's creative finish was a failure, And Rick Rude is getting better at his gimmick. So let's finish off our show. We got an 83. So I guess I should have just moved the Intercontinental title to the end. Probably would have got a lot better rating. So it increased our popularity in 6 regions. We would have gained 1 in the US, but it was limited. And we would have gained 2 in Canada, but we were limited to the number of viewers. We made $745,844 off of this episode. We went up to 70 in Puerto Rico and 68 in most of Canada, so that's not too bad. So that is the end of this episode. I will see everyone in the next one.